What's good, y'all? The Milwaukee Bucks are the hottest team in basketball right now, and they're in the midst of a 16-game winning streak that started all the way back in January. The win streak propelled them into the number 1 seed in the East, overtaking the Boston Celtics, and they also now have the best record in the entire NBA. Here you guys see their season stats as a team, including their record, offensive rating, defensive rating, net rating, three-point shooting, and all that. Then you can see all of those metrics during their 16-game winning streak, and every number across the board has gone up. Their offensive rating bumps up to top 10 in the league at 119.5. Defensive rating goes to first in the league at 106.9. Also, net rating is first in the league. Their three-point percentage shot up to top 10 in the league. They shooting more threes during this win streak. Just everything across the board is better. And although the Bucks have a pretty good all-around team, some depth in there, shooting, defending, they got a little bit of everything there. It also helps when you have the best player in basketball. And these are Giannis' stats during the win streak in 13 games. I excluded the 2 games that he got hurt, one with the wrist before the All-Star game, and then one with his knee because he played less than 10 minutes. So when you take those 2 games out, he is averaging 36 points per game, 13 rebounds, 6 assists on 60% from the field, and 37% from 3. Giannis has been on a tear during this win streak, scoring 50 points twice in the span of 3 games, one of them including a 54-point, 19-rebound game and a 1-point victory against the Los Angeles Clippers. He also put up 35 or more in 7 out of the 13 games he played in, including a 35-point, 15-rebound, 11-assist triple-double against the Miami Heat just 2 days after that Clippers game. And we all know Giannis likes to do most of his work in the paint. 49% of his shots this season come from the paint, and he's shooting a very nice 78% on them. It really is unfair, man. When he has a full head of steam going into the basket, there's not much that's going to stop him. And all this talk about offense, you forget that Giannis is one of the best, if not the best, two-way players in the league. He has a defensive rating this season at 106, which is number 1 in the entire NBA. His mixture of size, strength, length, athleticism, all that together makes him be able to do pretty much anything on the defensive side of the ball. I think his biggest strength on defense is his help defense and his rim protection, but he can also stay in front of his man, get in the passing lanes, switch on the pick and roll. He's just super diverse. And if you had to guess on who led Milwaukee in box plus minus, you would probably guess Giannis, and you would be correct. Giannis is at a plus 8.2 this season so far, but the real surprise comes when you find out in second is Jrue Holiday at a plus 3.2. That's a pretty deep drop off right there. Don't get me wrong though, I'm not trying to throw some shade at Jrue. I was just very surprised to see it was that steep. Jrue is still having a fantastic season this year, stepping up as Giannis' second-hand man. He even earned an All-Star appearance. And here's a look at Jrue Holiday's stats during the win streak. He has been a big part on them going on this 16-game win streak. Averaging 20 points, 6 rebounds, 6.5 assists on some very good efficiency, 49% from the field, 36% from 3, on some high-volume threes, and even almost a full steal. Jrue stepped up big time against Miami once Giannis went down with his knee, putting up a very efficient 24 points with 7 assists and 0 turnovers. He kept the impressive play up in the next game too against a very good Phoenix team with Giannis being out, putting up 33 points while playing great defense against D-Book in the 3-point victory. He also exploded against the Celtics. That was a very big game at the time, in the midst of their win streak. It was the 1-2 matchup, so it had a lot of, parameters around it. And this time, Giannis actually did play in that game, and Jrue still went crazy, dropping 40 points and hitting 8 threes. Just like with Giannis, though, don't let all this offensive talk let you forget that Jrue is, in my opinion, the best perimeter guard defender in the league. No matter who the Bucks are playing, night in and night out, Jrue is guarding the best offensive guard on the other team and is making them work for every single point. And if you think we're done talking about defense, I hate to break it to you, we are not. Brook Lopez has been a huge reason on why the Bucks had the number 2 defense this whole season and the number 1 defense during the 16-game winning streak. In those 16 games, he's put up 15 points, 7.5 rebounds on 53% from the field, 33% from 3, along with 2.1 blocks per game. Brook, in my opinion, is the perfect center to pair next to Giannis. He can stretch the floor, so that makes it harder to pack the paint on Giannis, and he's also one of the league's best rim protectors and a very solid rebounder at that too. On the season, he's shooting a career-high 38% from 3, while also tying a career high in blocks per game at 2.4. He's tied for second on the Bucks in defensive rating at 108, only behind, of course, Giannis, who leads the whole league. And in my opinion, he's got to be top 2 in Defensive Player of the Year. It's either him or Jaren Jackson Jr., if we're being honest. This season, Brook almost has like the Rudy Gobert effect in the paint, where guys will drive to the paint, see he's in there with his big arms up, and they'll just pass the ball or dribble around and get out of there. Like, he just smothers the paint. It's really crazy. And I almost forgot to mention that he has played every single game for the Milwaukee Bucks this season, except for one. Brook isn't the only Bucks center to be having a good season, though. Knicks legend Bobby Portis unfortunately did miss a good majority of this 16-game winning streak, missing 11 out of the 16 games. So let's take a look at the season stats for Milwaukee's sixth man over here. 14 points per game, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, on 49% from field and 34% from 3. Bobby provides some much needed offense for when the starters are off the court resting. Despite coming off the bench, Bobby is third in offensive box plus minus on Milwaukee with a plus 1.4, only behind Giannis, of course, and Jrue. A big chunk of his scoring comes from the mid-range, where he's shooting a very respectable 48% this season. He'll use his big body and start posting up people, then use his soft touch, turn around, paid right over him, and it's butter every single time. And on top of that, he has 20 double-doubles off the bench this season, which is number 1 in the NBA. You know, I've said before that I think Malcolm Brogdon pretty much has the Sixth Man of the Year award on lock. It's his award to lose. But I definitely think Bobby should at least be in the conversation. Bobby isn't alone on the Bucks bench, though. With Chris Middleton not being 100% just yet, the Bucks have been running him off the bench to kind of get him accustomed to it, and it's been working out pretty well. Chris missed a pretty big chunk of the season to start off, then he came back and started 7 games, missed the next 18, and then came back just in time for the win streak to start. And during the win streak, he's been coming off the bench, getting just under 20 minutes per game, putting up 15 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, on 47% from the field and 32% from 3. With only 20 total games played this year for Chris, you can kind of tell he's still getting used to that NBA game speed. He's not fully back yet. That being said, though, he's given the Bucks some pretty good production off their bench in only 20 minutes. His efficiency really isn't up to par with the Chris Middleton that we knew before the injury, especially from 3, but, you know, he's slowly but surely kind of getting it back in groove. You know, you would hope that once he's fully healthy, you know, back in the starting lineup and everything, the efficiency would go up. It wouldn't really be much of an issue. And if he does get back to 100%, man, this Bucks team is going to be tough. Not only do they have the 4 guys that I talked about already, they have some underrated depth, if you ask me. Here are the stats for some of the key role players of the Bucks during this 16-game winning streak. You got Javon Carter, who's played all 62 Bucks games this season and started 33 of them. He's been shooting the ball at an elite level, and elite is an understatement. As you see here during the winning streak, 49% on 4 attempts. On the season, he's shooting 41%, so it's not much of a drop-off. He's an amazing point of attack defender for the Bucks. He's actually 4th in defensive rating on the Bucks at 110. Then you got Grayson Allen, who's a great catch-and-shoot guy, adds a lot of spacing for this Bucks team. He started 56 out of the 58 games he's played. Pat Connaughton started the season off injured, but ever since he's been back, he's been hooping. He adds even more space and shooting to this team. He's a great rebounder, some pretty good defense with him too. Then you got Jay Crowder, who's only played 4 games with Milwaukee since they traded for him. But we all know how Jay Crowder is. He's a great playoff guy to have in your rotation. Just a prototypical 3-and-D wing that every team wants. With this 16-game winning streak still on for the Bucks, you gotta kind of wonder, when are they gonna stop? They do play the Sixers tonight when you guys are seeing this video, so maybe later on I'll post this video and then they lose and the 16-game winning streak is snapped. Even if I jinx them and the Sixers snap the Bucks streak, 16 games in a row is still an insane accomplishment, and it got people now realizing they're right up there with the Celtics. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave it a like, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. In the description, there'll be links to all my social medias, so make sure you follow me on all those to keep up to date with me. Catch y'all.